Hey, my name is Tyler. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about the film process and how to make your shots look more like film. And this is specifically using a software called filmbox. So if you haven't heard of it, go to videovillage.com, look it up. It's expensive, but it's very good. It's a great film emulation and it very closely resembles film, although their website is very humble when talking about it. Now, what I'm specifically trying to go for today is the bleach bypass look. And if you don't know what that is, basically in the old days when there was film and they used it more and it wasn't all digital, there was a process called bleach bypass, which basically means that it bypassed a processing in film, which was bleaching it. And essentially, what that's doing is reducing the saturation but creating richer contrast. Now, there's other terms that use this, like silver retention, and it doesn't bypass the bleach completely, but it's very popular in saying that it's a bleach bypass. It basically helps reduce the saturation and regain contrast in this organic way. A lot of movies do it. Think of War of the Worlds by Steven Spielberg, Michael Bay Transformers films, Seven by David Fincher. It's very popular and it looks very gritty, but also beautiful. So let's just jump into Davinci Resolve and I'll show you how I do it with filmbox. And it's pretty neat and it also is so close to film. It's shocking. So let's take a look. So now we are on Davinci Resolve. First, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the bottom right, this little cog wheel, and we're going to click on this, and we're going to go to color management and make sure our color management is set up properly. You can screenshot this and copy this if you want to. The only thing that might be changing is your output color space, whatever you want it to be, and your input color space, which is whatever camera you have. So save this now, and we'll get started. Okay, so to start off, we have our image right here of me right here, and I'm going to start off with a couple nodes, right? So we're going to start off first with filmbox. We'll put filmbox there, and what we're going to do is we're going to change the source to Davinci wide gamut because that's our color space right now. Go to Davinci wide gamut, and we're going to change this from the full to negative only. And then we have a negative only right here. And on the back end, this last node, we're going to hit film box again, and we're going to go to print only, right? So now we have our image, and I'm going to change it from standard print to extended, which is better for digital displays and cameras now. So go to extended, and then we have our display color space as the Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. And now what we're going to do is start the process. What I like to do is I'll turn off the halation and grain first, just to get a very clear image going. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to grade in between the negative and the print. So right, I'll name this negative, and then I'll name this one print. Okay. And next up, we're going to create two nodes. And this node right here, we're going to press Option L for a layer mixer node, right? And then what we have right here is the bleach bypass part. So we're going to right click on this little part right here, which is layer mixer, go to composite mode, and we can choose hard light. All right. So once I do that, the image is going to look super contrasty, right? So what I do on the bottom node right here of the layer, I'm going to go to the RGB mixer, and then I'm going to hit monochrome, and now we have a more desaturated image, right? So that's not it, because this image looks very contrasty. As you can see, we could see a bigger view of it. Pretty contrasty, shadows are crushed, right? So the next thing that I like to do is the node that's before that we created, I make sure these are both connected and feeding into it like this. If it's not, disconnect this one and make sure it's feeding into it like this. And with this, we're going to take our gamma and our lift. We're going to lift up the gamma a little bit. And then we're going to lift up the lift. And we have this image right here. It's getting pretty bright and the shadows aren't exactly correct. But what I like to do before that, before the actual negative, so you press Shift S to create a node before, is I'll adjust any highlights I want to do. So I'll go to my color wheels, I'll go down to highlights, and I'll adjust my highlights like this right here. And then I'll adjust my shadows a little bit. So I'll go to the HDR wheels and then pull up my shadows a little bit. And then I'll make sure highlights look good to me. Now, the next step right here is the image looks pretty good, but I like to add a little bit more vibrance to it. So what I do is I'll expose it down just a little bit more. Maybe like right here. And then I'll go back to the shadows and I'll lift up the shadows a little bit more. Right? So now our image is looking pretty darn good. But I like to add a little bit of vibrance, like I said. So we go back to filmbox, and then we will go down to the lab, and we'll enable this, and we'll add a little bit of vibrance in there. Right? So we're adding some saturation a little bit, and some good coloring, so it's not too crazy. So there it is. We have the image right here. It's looking pretty good. What I like to do last is I will check my skin tones. So what I do is I'll press Option S at the end to create another node, and then I will look at my DCTLs. I have a neat one. It's called Mononodes Balance, and basically this will check your skin tones for you automatically. And now we can see we're off the skin tone line. We're hitting hard magenta, and the green is shifting green. We want to be on the yellow line, right? So what I do is I'll go to my film negative. I'll go to my camera on there, and I will change the tint so we're more closely aligning. Maybe a little bit of temperature adjust, and then I'll turn that balance off again. And now we're getting closer to the actual skin, as you see right now. So here is the final image. Very contrasty, but also still keeping the shadows in play. And some parts are blacker, but that is fine with me for that whole film look. And what you can do is go down to, advanced settings, and you can turn back on your grain, lower saturation of grain if you want to, turn down the strength a little bit more. So we're getting just a little bit of a grain, maybe add some softness to the grain. And now we're getting this final image of me with this beautiful bleach bypass look. Very, very just amazing. Okay, well, thanks for joining me today. Hopefully you learned something from this and maybe try it out. I know there's a Filmbox Lite version that's free that you can try it on. But yeah, it was fun. But have a great day.